Well, a little earlier, I went to New Scotland Yard to speak to the Metropolitan Police Commissioner, Sir Bernard Hogan-Howe. I began by asking him whether he felt terribly responsible for the continued suffering of Stephen Lawrence's parents.
I'm not sure that I'm personally responsible, but I certainly felt the emotion that they felt yesterday. You could see and just try and sympathise and empathise with what they were going through, because, as you said, they lost a son who was murdered. It took an awful long time, but the Metropolitan Police did eventually convict 2 of their killers, and we're still looking for the others and still trying to carry on with that investigation. But their whole experience over such a long period of time is pretty awful, and anybody had to feel that sympathy for them yesterday.
Do you believe that the Met may have undermined the Macpherson inquiry?
Well, if you look at Mark Ellison's report, it's entirely possible. I think what Mark Ellison says is that he's raised some serious questions about, one, how thorough the investigation was, how much information was shared with Sir William Macpherson, and whether or not that was therefore gave Sir William the best opportunity to have an open inquiry and whatever conclusions he may have reached had he known certain information.
And crucially, why Richard Walton, who was drafting the police response to Macpherson, why he was meeting an undercover officer who was spying on the Lawrence family circle.
But I think the man involved, Richard Walton, should have the opportunity to defend himself in the right way. We've referred this issue to the IPCC. I think he deserves, as others do, to have that a fair opportunity to defend himself.
But the fact that he's been moved from his current job as head of counter-terrorism command does suggest that you believe that he may have undermined the Macpherson inquiry. I think
all we're trying to indicate is 2 things. This is a serious allegation, but not yet proved. And secondly, that Richard's been in a very sensitive role, and it seemed to us that to allow him to be able to defend himself, to an inquiry to continue, then probably it wasn't the wisest thing for him to continue in that role for as long as this inquiry lasts.
Is N81, the undercover officer who was spying on the Lawrence family circle, is he still employed by the Met?
On the whole, we don't tend to confirm or deny anything about our undercover officers, because sometimes little bits of information can be put together to establish who these people are. But something, I think, in due course that will be entirely possible to discuss.
Will you apologise to the Lawrence family?
Well, I'm quite happy to apologise for anything that's wrong. I've shown that during my commissionership I've been quite happy to apologise where we get things wrong. But if I am to do that, and if they're prepared to meet and willing to meet, then I think it's something we should do privately rather than to announce publicly. But
when you look at Hillsborough, Plebgate, phone hacking, and now this, the standing of the police has been seriously diminished, has it not?
There are certainly things that can be put on the negative side of the scales, I do agree. But I think there's some things on the positive side too. We have high standards, and when we fall below them, I'm shocked, and I'm glad the public are, because I'd hate them to get to this position where they hear about a bad event and think, well, that's just what the police do. I would hate to get to that position. But I don't think we should overreact to some significant, serious things and therefore say that there should be no trust in the police.
The Metropolitan Police Commissioner speaking to me earlier.